cheating a little. We're going to be making our own manufactured brown sauce. And to do that, I actually have to start with a stock. I don't have any beef bones to make a stock, so I'm going to manufacture that as well. The way you do that is with some powdered beef soup base and add some fresh vegetables. That sort of gives it a real flavor. And trust me, when the shit hits the fan in a restaurant, people do this as well. So I'm just fortifying the water with some onions. Yeah, I got some garlic here. This is all going to be strained afterward. Just drop that in there. You kind of always want to have some beef soup base at home because for situations like this, it could come in pretty handy. Oxo cubes will do the trick as well. I like to put in a little bit of soy sauce. Soy sauce adds coloring and flavors. Now since it's a dark sauce, if you have any ends of onions, mushrooms, carrots, I also got some parsley greens here, I'll throw that in too. Let me put in a little bit of fresh pepper here as well. Like I said, I'm going to be straining this afterwards, so all of this stuff is going to come out and you're just going to be left with that broth. I'll put the lid on now just so that it comes to a boil quicker. Okay, so now we're at the second stage of creating the brown sauce, and what we really have to start with now is something called a roux, R-O-U-X. And basically that is, essentially equal parts fat and flour. A thickening agent for your broth, or the stock, which I'm making here. That stock is pretty much ready to go. So I'm going to start with my roux here now. I've used some olive oil. You know what, I got a little bit of bacon fat here, so I might use a little bit of that too. Even vegetable oil is fine. I guess I got about 1/4 cup in here, so I'll do the same amount of flour. And all we do now is just cook it slowly. Since I'm making a brown sauce, I actually want this roux to cook quite a bit. And in fact, you're going to be making something called a brown roux, which basically means that you're cooking the flour until it becomes discolored. Now that doesn't mean burn it, that means cook it slowly so that it gets a nice coloring and you give the fat and flour an opportunity to work together. If I was making a blonde roux, I'd probably add a chicken stock or a fish stock to this right now because I don't want a sauce for chicken too dark. Okay, let me turn this down because I've pretty much reached the color that I want for this roux. It's kind of a light nutty brown. And the first step to our basic brown sauce is to add a stock to our roux. Now caution here, that oil and flour is at a very high temperature, much higher than this stock. So you want to be careful when you first put water into this because this is going to really blast up. Keep your hands away from it. What you're really doing here is bringing the temperature of the oil and the flour down to the stock when the stock sort of takes over the volume. I'm going to need a lot more than that, but I'm just going to mix in some of the stock here right now. Yeah, you got to be really careful of the splashing here. So that roux has basically adopted all that stock, so let's add more. I'm going to do that through a strainer so that any parsley leaves and spices don't get in there. I want my brown sauce really basic, so I don't want any herbs or spices to be visible in there. The flavor is just killer right now. The only other thing this needs to become a basic brown sauce is a bit of tomato product. What we're going to do here is use a little bit of tomato paste. And what the tomato does is sort of smooth out into something, that's a bit more delicate. You don't want to turn your sauce red, but it will change the coloring of this a bit. Now what I'm seeing here is a really silky, smooth sauce. I love it. It's excellent. How did I do that? So I got this rumbling now at a perfect sort of consistency because, as you can see, some of the impurities are already moving to the side. And I'll let this cook for probably another 20 minutes. Just let it cook down, thicken up a bit. And then I'll just use a spoon to sort of peel away any impurities that are sitting on the side, just like that. more of this kind of stuff that you get rid of in the sauce, the better it's going to taste. So we'll come back in just a few minutes, clean that up, and then cool off the sauce, and then we'll store it in the fridge. Honestly, if you get to taste the sauce this good that you've made, you're just going to feel so much better about your cooking. Not only that, if you start your cooking with a sauce that tastes that great, then everything else, all of your end products are going to be that much better. And you're going to be really happy that you watched one basic video of how to make a simple brown sauce.